Falcon fans, and of course, Scott Carasik. You already know what it is. You already know what to do. One time for the fan. We are back talking Falcons football. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, YouTube. I don't know, X. A little bit of everything, man. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Chat is live. Chat is lit. Falcon fans. Welcome to One Time for the Fan once again. T. Will, former ATL Sports, One Time for the Fan. Miss Carrie, One Time for the Fan here talking Falcons football. And of
Hey
course,
everyone.
our special guest and our good friend, Mr. Scott Carasik. Scott, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, y'all. How are you?
Hey, doing
Hey
great.
Scott.
What's up, Scott? Long time no see, Scott.
I know, man.
What was it like just a couple hours now?
Nah, we did our show yesterday.
Hey man, big shout out to Scott, big shout out to T. Will. Let's talk about the show too as well, since you guys are here, man. What the Falcon? What's going on here?
It's
T.
called What the Falcon. And
Again.
look at chat, just so you guys know, I did get John from Out of Your Falcon Mind's approval. I got the blessing. I went to him and I said, "Hey John, is it okay if Scott and I use What the Falcon?" And John says to me in his Godfather voice, "I'm glad you came to me. Yes, you can use it. It would have been disrespectful had you not come to me, but it's okay." No, he was like, "Dude, it's cool. I'm good with it. It's all good."
I
So
didn't know they had it first. I'll be honest.
no.
with you.
They got Out of Your Falcon Mind. It probably wasn't a big deal. I don't want to step on toes. You get what I'm saying? So I was just like,
I
"Hey
get
man,
it.
hey, I just want to. We want to use this name. Are you cool with it?" And John was totally cool, totally awesome. That's why I work with awesome people like Scott and John and Debo Vibes and you guys, right?
I love that you asked them like that. That's awesome
That's hey,
because
man.
That's
it
just the
does
kind of
remind
dude he
me of it.
is.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I would do that too, honestly, because like you said, you don't want to step on any toes, and
Nope.
we're cool with John and Mike, and it did. I'm not gonna lie, like when I heard that's what you guys name the show, I like it, but it did remind me of John and Mike, so I get
There
why
you
you
go.
asked. Yeah, it did
There you
remind me
go.
of it, so I get it.
There you
And,
go. And
big shout-
Jordan, of course, is like, "Are you Falcon kidding me?" I like what you did there, Jordan. I like what you did there.
Hey man, it's really cool to be in this Falcon content creator space, man. Everybody's having a good time this off season. Falcons making some small moves recently. I know a lot of Falcon fans are excited to have Leonard Floyd in the building. Of course, today Jamal Agnew now with the Atlanta Falcons. Look like we have our kick return guy in the building, but we'll get to some Falcons football here shortly. Miss Carrie, how are you doing on this Thursday evening here on One Time for the Fan?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Can't complain, honestly. One day closer to training camp, and actually one day closer to the NFL draft. I mean, we're like what, a month away by now? So that's the main thing. But yeah, a day closer to football. I love it.
Man, this is the season right here. Big shout out to all the Falcon fans in the chat. Chat is live. Chat is lit. Our special guest, Scott Carasik, is here talking Falcons football. Of course, Scott has been here on the podcast before, so we love to have Scott back talking Falcons. Scott, for those that do not know here in the chat, go ahead and let them know your social media and just a little bit about yourself for all the Falcon fans that's watching and listening.
So, just for reference, I've been covering the Falcons, the NFL draft, just everything for about 16 years now. Yeah, you can find me on there on X is at Carasik S. I used to write for Bleacher Report. I've been at Falcon Wire, been at Blogging Dirty, and at this point, I'm just doing a Substack, and I'm just gonna write whenever I feel like writing. It's not my main thing, so for me, I don't need it. I don't need to write, make it feel like work. And if it feels like work, I'm not doing it. So it's that simple. I enjoy podcasting. I enjoy the podcast side more than I enjoyed the writing article side. So that's why I do this a lot more.
Hey, big shout out to Scott Carasik for joining us here tonight. Those who do not know, this is not Scott's first time on the channel. So big shout out to Scott for joining us here tonight. Talk some Falcons football. Where can we begin, Carrie? Let's see. I mean, we can talk about the stadium, but you don't want to.
Oh, please don't start it out hot, Jack. Please.
What about
talk
the stadium?
I'm just trying to think of some things we can talk about before we mention, Kirk Cousins.
Oh,
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Please, no.
Yes.
Everybody wants to
Kirk
talk about
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
Am I right?
I really,
Yes.
I know T. Will does, not me.
Yes.
Let's get straight to it. Scott, what's going on here? Scott, we had a season of, I guess a quarterback, situation that I know fans were not expecting. Of course, with Kirk Cousins now, speaking to Arthur Blank recently, wanted to get up out of Atlanta. Now you're seeing the report here that I guess are calling, or I guess the Falcons are calling around to find out who can take Kirk Cousins. Scott, what's your thoughts on this whole Kirk issue, man? Because fans are kind of really upset about this. Kirk Cousins still being here after the $10 million bonus issue.
I mean, the bonus doesn't get paid until next year, so whoever trades for him is who takes it on. Mm-hmm. If the Falcons can trade him sometime before June 1st, then that bonus is completely just irrelevant and the new team's paying it, and that's the only guaranteed money that the new team would have. So, I mean, obviously, if they took on the whole contract, then they'd have the guaranteed money from this year and next year. So they'd have $37.5 million guaranteed, and they could structure it in a way if they wanted to where they put most of it to next year. Mm-hmm. So basically, they'd have to. I hate to say it this way, but if I'm the Falcons, I don't even hate the idea of like trading a 4th round pick for a 5th round pick, mm-hmm. and sending Kirk as part of that, and sending like Kirk with the 4th round pick, mm-hmm. for the 5th round pick, just to get them to eat the money.
Well, just look at the quarterback situation around the league. I mean, what team you think, chat panel, what team do you think could be interested in Kirk right now? I mean, there's reports that the Steelers could be heavy on Aaron Rodgers. Of course, I believe Scott's going to be back here just a couple of seconds, so he got disconnected. But T will carry the reports of, maybe the Browns possibly could be the team to take on Kirk Cousins. But the way we're looking at it around the league, we might be stuck with Kirk going throughout the season until he gets hurt. We don't want to, wish that on no quarterback. We want all these players to play healthy, right? But if a quarterback goes down, hey, we have Kirk Cousins right here as the backup. It's possible that, he could be traded before the trade deadline. But let's just say, a quarterback doesn't go down before the trade deadline, then you're kind of stuck with Kirk going forward. But just your thoughts, Carrie and T. Will. Scott should be joining us back here shortly, but just your thoughts on this whole Kirk Cousins situation. T. Will, I know you got a lot to say. So, Carrie, let's go to you on this Kirk Cousins situation. Just your thoughts, Carrie.
Oh, man, where do I begin, honestly? For me, I'm just over Kirk. Like, I mean, if I haven't already made that known, like, he is not the future of this team. I mean, we already know he's not part of the plans. Terry Raheem said that he was for now, and, Penix was for the future. Well, if the future is now, and I'm just honestly, as a fan, I'm just over hearing about Kirk. Thankfully, I think he's just been laying low. And he hasn't been speaking out to the media or requesting to speak to Arthur Blank or causing any ruckus in the media lately, thankfully. No drama. But for me,
no drama.
Oh
no, not even just a little.
I mean, he's been kind of quiet, right? I mean, he's been kind of quiet, right? I mean, he's probably bound to do something at this point. I might have just jinxed it because we haven't heard any reports of him doing anything outlandish lately. No, but for me, T-Will and I go back and forth. I truly don't think there's a market for Kirk. If I was not a Falcons fan, if I was a neutral fan, if I was a fan of another team, I would not want Kirk Cousins. I would not want my franchise getting Kirk Cousins, okay? Like, I would not want them trading a 3rd round pick for Kirk Cousins. No, I would not. I'm sorry. So respectfully, I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it happens as a Falcons fan. I hope somebody gets desperate and stupid and does something crazy like that. But for me, I think it's wild that somebody would give a 3rd round pick for Kirk Cousins. For multiple reasons. We don't have to really get into that, but we can. But yeah, I'll open to you guys.
T. Will, let's get to you on this Kirk Cousins issue.
I would love to retort.
Jump into as well. I know we've all probably talked about this at some point in time during this offseason. T. Will, we've been talking about it on the podcast.
Yes, we have.
Kirk not speaking to Raheem, not speaking to Terry, going to
Yep.
Arthur Blank, going
Yep.
during Super Bowl week. There should be no coverage of the Atlanta Falcons quarterback talking about an injury during Super Bowl Sunday or that weekend. Sure enough, it happens. Of course, there were some fans that were down there, and I believe Kurt took off the Falcon shirt, walking around without the Falcon shirt on too as well. Maybe it was just a quick change for Kurt that day. But ever since that moment, we also heard that he did not want to speak to Terry and Raheem. Went straight to Arthur Blank, and had that Wednesday night meeting with Mr. Blank, and now we are at this point where Terry. Where are we at with this, T-Bo? Because I'm just confused with this too.
Thank you. So, to the audience in the chat, look at everyone on this panel is family. Okay, so when I say this in context to family. Carrie and I had a very passionate discussion last night. We had a passionate discussion in the chat. And Carrie said some stuff that I didn't know was in Carrie. I was impressed. Okay? I was impressed. I was like, wow. Mind blown. Wow. Okay.
If she said some bad words and the Carrie went off. Carrie doesn't really curse.
Yeah, I don't curse like that at all. But her presence clearly brings it out of me. And then obviously I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar, so I had to drop some K-Dot bars in the chat as well.
She dropped bars, okay? And she's got bars. Carrie's got bars. I did not know this about her, but Carrie's got bars. Okay. So with that being said, right, this is where Carrie and I disagree, right? So yesterday, we get a report from Josina Anderson saying that she's hearing that people are calling the Falcons, right? And that some people are offering a third-round pick, or some GMs are offering a third-round pick. Then yesterday in the evening, we hear, oh, that's not true. The Falcons are calling people, and they're desperate, and blah, 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 blah. Now, for me, and again, you can choose to believe whatever you want to believe. Here are my thoughts. If you're so desperate to get rid of them, why wait until now? If you're so desperate to make a trade, if you're so desperate, why wait until after you pay the guy the bonus? Wouldn't you have done it in January? Wouldn't you have at least done it in February? Why wait until now? I don't get that. And I'm not saying it's true, but I'm just saying I don't get that. Then secondly, why is it that as soon as Josina makes her report that we get a report after that says, oh, no. The Falcons are desperate. No, it's not that they're being called. They're calling people. That to me sounds like somebody, Jack, that's trying to drive down the stock, right? That's trying to, in other words, no, I don't want to pay a third-round pick for him. I want to pay a fifth-round pick. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a rumor out there that says, no, Raheem's desperate. He's calling people. He's begging people. But that doesn't align with his actions, right? Like you said, Jack, Raheem comes out and says, hey, Kirk's on the bench. Kirk goes and does his little temper tantrum at the Super Bowl, says what he says. Then Raheem double downs on it and says, no, Kirk, you're on the bench. Then Kirk goes, let me see your manager. Okay, goes off there.
After Terry has already mentioned that he will be the backup.
And Terry's already mentioned it, right?
Yeah.
So if
not you, Terry, I'm talking about Terry. Maybe. Yeah.
If you were trying to get rid of this guy, wouldn't you have taken like a seventh round pick and a case of beer to just get him out of there? And Scott, you have an interesting look on your face. So I want to hear what you got to say.
Is the backup quarterback situation that bad in the NFL, Scott, that you need a Kirk Cousins on your team right now, that you just do not want to get rid of him, Scott? You're very knowledgeable in this area when it comes to, players and the Falcons. I mean, what's going on here, Scott?
You're muted.
Damn, you're muted, Scott.
You're muted, Scott. We can't hear you. You're muted. We can't hear you. Damn.
Yeah, Mike is muted. Mike is muted. There
he is. We can hear you now.
There you go.
You're good now.
All right. So, first off, NFL teams do dumb shit all the time, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of really bad quarterbacks in the NFL that should not be in the NFL, including the backups. There's only 25 competent or better quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes. So if you lose your starting quarterback, you're fucked anyway, right? I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it, right?
You got to.
If you're starting quarterback, you're fucked. It just is what it is.
Mhm.
On the flip side of all that, let's just look at this holistically. The reason why the Falcons said, you know what, we don't mind triggering that bonus for next year, it's going to happen. It's because it gets added to whoever they're trading him to. But they also did it as a way to tell the league, hey, we're not cutting his dumbass.
Mhm.
If you want him, you got to trade for him. But we're not going to cut him. You got to pay this dumbass $27.5 million, whether he's on the roster or cut, regardless. So we don't care if we sit here and hold on to him until someone gives us an offer we like. Even if that offer is a 7th round pick and a bag of chips. I don't care what that offer is. You're going to take that contract. Now, if we're paying all but like $10 million of it,
chips would it be? Because I'm a Ruffles guy.
Whatever Terry Fontenot's favorite are, right?
Can we at least get a case of beer with this Scott as well?
I'm sure we could, especially
Okay.
if we trade him to like a Pittsburgh type area.
Not some Modelo.
But like, yeah,
That's
but like,
tough.
if the Falcons are eating some of that cap, that's when they're going to get that 3rd round pick, right? If they have to eat 15 million of that money this year, they're going to buy themselves a 3rd round pick. That's what they mean when they say buy a pick. But that trade ain't going to happen until June if that's the case.
Mhm. Let's also go back to the meeting that Kirk Cousins had with Arthur Blank. Scott, does this play a part too as well? That Kirk Cousins mentioned that he wants to go to a team where he can be a starter, which a lot of teams you mentioned in this league. I mean, you see the quarterback situation. If Kirk would have mentioned that he just wants to go to a team that's just not, he doesn't want to be in Atlanta no more, would it make the trade more easier for Terry? I mean, if he just agrees that he can be a backup in this league and not a starter anymore.
No one's paying starter
teams
money
would
for a
have been
backup.
calling left and right, I think, right now. To send him to a team to be a starter, there's not that many teams left to be a starter.
No team's going to bring him in to be a backup. The schemes that he fits doesn't really work with the open available spots. Like Tennessee isn't going to bring him in to be a backup, right? That's one of the few spots that like might make sense. They bring him in to be a starter
instantly.
Cleveland doesn't have the cap to afford him, and which is crazy. The Steelers are the team I think does it because Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson aren't scary enough to beat him out. The Steelers don't have a high enough pick to take a quarterback that you're going to go, oh my God, this guy's going to start this year or next year. You know, they might take Milroe and sit Milroe for a year and a half, run some side packages for him. But I don't see the Steelers being a situation that'd be bad for him, especially since Arthur Smith's offense is very similar to what he ran with the Vikings. So a lot of play action, a lot of that underneath routes, stuff that's not going to test his arm that much. The receivers there are divas, but he's Kirk. So, I mean, it is what it is. But they need a quarterback there that can be that example they want. And Kirk might actually be that example they want outside of his love language being guaranteed money.
And of course, if Kirk Cousins get a chance to get him back to the playoffs, because Mike Tomlin's a guy doesn't miss when it comes to making the playoffs. If he can get past that first round point, that'd be interesting too as well.
No, with Kirk Cousins, you're never getting past the first round, but Mike Tomlin don't care about that anymore. He got his ring. Yeah. He really doesn't. Like, Mike Tomlin's not coaching for his job ever. He's just out there coaching to coach.
Jack, I believe Scott is due a wow for the money, guaranteed money being Kirk's love language. I give him a 10 on the dismount. I think he's due a wow. I think he's due a wow. I think he is. That was perfect. I got to give it to him. Well said.
Let me find it.
I think he's
get the wows out.
Yeah, let's get the wows out. There you go. Yeah. Hey, the man is wow. Love it.
Wow meter at 1. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Scott Carisik here talking Falcons football. Miss Carrie is here talking Falcons football. Of course, T. Will, one time for the fan for my ATL Sports talking Falcons football. Talking a little bit about the Kirk Cousins situation. Karen, I know you probably have a lot to say about Kirk Cousins. Anything else you want to mention about this situation? Since you know,
what is so funny, T. Will?
It's funny, right?
So I've been working with Carrie for damn near a year. We've never been on opposite sides of it. It's like, it's so funny. Because every time I see her, I just want to needle her and go, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, right? But no, Carrie, I think we should do a bet, right? I think we should do a bet. I don't know what the penalty should be for losing. But I'm gonna say that we trade Kirk Cousins for at least a 5th round pick.
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and argue that because it really depends on when. If it's before the draft, I doubt it. If it's after the draft but before June 1st, I doubt it. If it's after June 1st, absolutely. Because they can manipulate the cap to make that work.
A lot of Falcon fans do forget about that too as well with the cap situation and how the Falcons have to maneuver these deals. People just look at trade the guy, get him out of here too. Scott, you do a good job of breaking down some of the financials and the contracts and everything going on with these players. Looking at the roster going forward right now, how much do the Falcons have in cap space? I mean, do they have enough right now to go sign their draft class, or are they still gonna be making some more restructures?
They're gonna do some restructures, but like over the cap doesn't have the accurate numbers right now. I can tell you they've probably already restructured Lindstrom. They've probably already restructured Terrell. And there's that Matthews extension that's not showing up properly in over the cap. They have 71 players on the roster too. They signed Fuller to a pretty solid deal. They signed Agnew to a pretty decent deal. So it's not like they signed these guys to like massive deals, but they didn't also sign them to small ones either. Yeah. They've got more than enough cap space to do what they need to do. And I think people are kind of overestimating how much the cap really does affect going out and getting free agents if they really want to do it a certain way.
And we're going to get down to that as well. Some of the free agents the Falcons signed, and of course the roster, what it looks like right now. Of course, the Falcons still have some moves to make the draft class. Mel Kiper Jr. mentioning recent in his mock that the Falcons could possibly take Mike Green, which is a name that we had to shoot back up our draft boards here at one time for the fans. A couple names. Come on, Scott. We got to get that name in the pot. No. Scott's like, no, it's not happening.
That's old news.
The reason why Mike Green's not going to be drafted by the Falcons has nothing to do with his on-field ability. On field, he would be a fantastic pick for the Falcons. It has everything to do with his off-field questions. Now, before people say like, oh, well, why do they want choir boys? There's a difference between wanting choir boys and not wanting guys that have been accused of sexual assault twice.
Not once. Twice.
I mean, I can understand if you got falsely accused once, but no one gets falsely accused of sexual assault twice in one lifetime. Like that's.
I'm trying to find out who his lawyer is. No,
something's. Something's off here. And he admitted it to everybody at the combine. So I'm like, I'm a little confused why.
Yeah.
That's not a massive red flag for all of these teams.
Yeah.
And then I've been talking with a couple friends that cover other teams around the league, and they're like, nah, dude, he's not on our board. I doubt he'd be picked. Bunch of people are saying it wouldn't be the pick.
So are you saying, Scott, that he's an Eagle?
I mean, probably, but the Eagles actually don't care about character at all and off-field stuff at all. So they never have.
Maybe we need to take notes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, because I'd rather not have players get arrested.
Me either. Okay, I'm just joking. It's a joke because they just won a Super Bowl, so like take notes from them. But no, I'm kidding. Definitely don't want bad character guys and all.
Because we have
not
here.
No, go ahead, Jack. I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying. Once is one thing, but twice at a minimum, you make very bad decisions. Because let me tell you something. If you've been accused of that one time in today's environment, holy shit, man. Most people would never put themselves in that situation again. For you to be accused twice, bruh, either you got some really questionable folks around you, and you deal with nefarious people, or there's something to it, right? Once is a coincidence, once, maybe twice, that's a pattern. I just don't see it, and the Falcons are not going to go near him. They're not going to smell
one
him.
thing we spoke about on the channel. Bodie, big shout out to Bodie too as well. One time for the fan, Bodie's best. He mentioned, man, he wants the Falcons to go get some dogs too as well. Some guys who do have some off the field issues every now and then. Not the guys who just getting locked up in here, every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But Mike Green has some some situations off the field that we did talk about on the channel, and I don't think the Falcons might go after it. Still, I know Falcon fans probably have him on the draft board too as well after hearing Mel Kiper Jr.'s report. But Scott, because you're here, if we don't go Mike Green, right? Shamar Stewart, is that a guy that the Falcon fans can add on their draft board?
Oh, he does not like him.
Walker, is that
you can put Stewart on your board.
Looking at, because the Falcons are making free agent moves, and you see what's going on. So let's
Shamar Stewart is. I'll put it this way: I had better film in high school than Stewart did. Like,
jeez, he's not a fan.
No, dude. I say that as a joke. Like, I was not a good football player at all. But Shamar Stewart has a second round grade for me. Like, he's not good.
Is he just like a freak athlete? Is that why people are loving him?
He is the definition of a Ricky Bobby pass rusher. He wants to go fast, but he has no idea what to do with his hands. Like, that's just what he is.
Oh, okay.
Like, he doesn't have any good technique. He doesn't use good leverage. Like, I mean, I'll just put it this way. I wrestled all growing up. There were kids on the wrestling team that would get cut if they used his terrible, terrible leverage. Like, he doesn't have body control. There's just so much work that you'd have to put in. Walker coming out didn't have any production either, but Travon Walker's film, you were like, oh, he's like one step behind. He's like a half step behind. Not a big deal. He's got good leverage. He's using his hands right. He's got good body control. But when it comes to Stewart, you're like, I have to basically take an athlete who has no actual football talent and teach him how to be a football player. Like, I just don't see it.
And with the Falcons sitting at 15, that wouldn't be the right move right now. You need a guy who can get on the field right now and get after it. We talked about Mike Green. We talked about Shamar Stewart. In the mind of Scott Carasik with the Falcons making these moves, Jamal Agnew, of course, was signed to as well. Jordan Fuller is now in the building. Leonard Floyd, of course, is in the building. Morgan Fox is in the building. Felipe Franks. Just your thoughts, Scott.
Did you just say Felipe Franks?
Yeah, they re-signed
I
Franks.
just threw that in there like I wouldn't notice.
He just threw
that name in there like.
He did.
I think that's on.
Right?
I think that's on Big Keys, the special teams guy, special teams coordinator. I think he was like, I like Felipe. Bring his ass back.
Oh,
Mike
wow.
Ford in the building, Keith Taylor in the building too as well. Scott, you're looking at that 15th pick right now. Of course, some more moves could be made too as well. You just talked about cap space, how they could build this roster. But Scott, what are you looking at 15 right now with the Falcons? Of course, it might change, next week when the Falcons go sign 2 more defensive players. You never know. But what are you looking at right now at 15?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not looking at edge at 15 because I don't think the value aligns with who the player is. I'm still looking defense. Like, don't get me wrong. You still need to add a piece, a dog to the defense, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe that guy is Kenneth Grant from Michigan, or maybe it's
Jahad
Walter
Campbell?
Nolan from Mississippi. Maybe it's Jahad Campbell.
Does the
Let's
injury
go.
linebacker,
the
if he's
surgery
there.
recently, does that hurt his value right now in the draft?
You know how many dudes every year have their labrum repaired in the offseason?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of the most common surgeries in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
These dudes all have shoulder problems. You're hitting somebody with the brunt of your shoulder 150 plus times a year minimum. Like, you're going to have shoulder problems. A lot of these guys get it done and no one ever hears about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, yeah, I'm a little limited because of my shoulder. If you ever look at training camp and you see a guy is out a couple days right at the beginning because of their shoulder, that's all it is. They probably tore their labrum, got it repaired in the offseason, and they're back healthy, good to go. And it's something you can play with.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Just a quick question for you, Scott. Heavy presence with the Falcons being down there at Georgia's Pro Day. You knew about last year with the Falcons going out there with Michael Penix. Georgia does have a couple guys that's in the first round, maybe one or two that could fit with the Falcons want. Malachi Starks possibly. Some are saying Jordan Fuller could be the starting safety now. Where does it put Helms? Is Stark still in play there too as well? Is Jalen
Absolutely.
Walker probably in play there too as well?
I don't think that anybody that the Falcons signed changes their draft plans at all. I think regardless, they're going the best defensive player they have on their board, whether it's Malachi Starks, whether it's I don't think it's Jalen Walker, but I also just don't think Jalen Walker's there. I don't think it's Shamar Stewart. I don't think it's, I think it's probably Jahad Campbell. I think it's probably Malachi Starks. I think Michael Williams could be the pick there, but I think they'd probably trade down. If that is the case.
Jr. from Tennessee.
Second round guy.
Second round.
He's, first round film, second round human being. And that's not saying he's not like a bad dude off the field or anything. Off field from every season guy, he just has some motor questions while he's on the field. Although I was watching, he plays a lot of snaps. He's probably just exhausted late in the games because that's what you see. Like late in the games, he looks worn down. He looks like he's out of energy. I don't know if it's a gas tank thing or if it's just like they're just playing him too much, which a lot of teams in college football play guys way too much. I think that's all.
Who's this right here? Johnson from Michigan, cornerback.
Johnson from Michigan could be one of those potential picks. Jahdae Barron could be a potential pick. Nick Emanwari could be the pick. Malachi Starks could be the pick. There's a lot of options.
I wish we could have like 5 of them. We need like 5 of those guys.
If we had 5 first-round picks this year, it would all be defense too.
Right. Oh, man.
Well, here's the cool thing, because Scott does a great job of putting out these depth chart projections. So we just want to go over it too as well. DSGB Hall in the chat. For everybody in the chat, big shout out to you all. With a special guest here, it's kind of difficult to read all the comments too as well. But A1 Forever, Michael's in the chat, Jamal Hill's in the chat, Eric Parker's in the chat. So many Falcon fans. Smooth C, Shucky Ducky's in the chat. I think somebody even probably sent a bot. Somebody in this chat over here.
Yeah, okay. You see it.
How did we get a bot? We've never
had no idea.
I will say those comments were pretty funny.
Let's get a bot before.
You know what? I get them, Carrie. So I got one time that was like Jesus is Lord and da-da-da-da-da and Christ died for you. And I was like, I hate to do it because I'm a Christian, but you got to go. It does happen.
Donovan from Boston College.
Donovan. And I'm not going to butcher this man's name, but it starts with an E.
That's Kirk's burner account.
Donovan E. God dang.
I think that's Kirk's burner. Yeah, his burner YouTube, just like his burner Twitter page has been all in my replies as well. I got the Kirk Defender all in my man. Whew.
Anyway, Donovan E. from Boston College. He basically is like if Vic Beasley actually enjoyed playing football. Like same kind of talent level, same kind of film in college. Super productive, super disruptive. Played a lot of snaps. I would like him if they traded down to like 30 with the Bills. Like say the Bills want a wide receiver, right? And they give us 30, they give us 62, they give us a 4th round pick, and they give us a 6th round pick, right? They've got 11 picks this year. So they would give us 4 of them for 15. We would take that 6th, we would take that 4th, we would take that extra second rounder.
Of course, trading down is an option.
Do
I think
that.
on the table for Terry right now.
Scott, take Donovan there.
How strong is the possibility to trade down right now? Let's play Scott in GM role. Terry's put you in the GM role. The moves that's been made, you get into that war room. Scott, would you trade down right now if you're the Atlanta Falcons, or would you take a pick at 15?
I would have 4 trade downs already negotiated out by now.
Sheesh.
Where, depending on who was available, would be who I would call, right? So let's say I'm at 15, Jalen Milroe's available. I look at the Steelers, they've got 21, they've got a 3rd and a 4th. Be like, hey, for 21, a 3, and a 4, I can make sure you get Milrow. Otherwise, I can make sure the Giants get Milrow.
Mhm.
I'm not going to work anything out with the Giants, but you know what? Might as well see if they do it and then see what happens. That'd be one spot. The other spot would be the Chargers. Say Tet McMillan falls to 15, right?
Mhm.
Hey, you guys want Tet McMillan? Send us your 3, your 4, your 6. We'll do it. They have 12 picks in screw it. They're San Diego. They have 12 picks down in San Diego. They can send us 3 of those.
Mhm.
3 additional picks for that one.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And
And
it'd be
these are
worth it.
realistic trades that happen in the NFL. True as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean a 1 for a 15 down to 22, and you pick a 3, a 4, and a 6. That's not asking too much, and that's just getting a bunch of stuff there, and it works. And then you've got
They're back, Jack.
I banned them. Can
right.
somebody get a curse burner account up out of here, please?
yeah, seriously.
What is going on?
That
But,
is so creepy. The photo's
but-
creepy. The whole thing is creepy.
For sure. The other thought is Tet McMillan could also be a guy that the Bills would want.
Mhm.
So the Bills would do that trade. I think Terry has 5 or 6 trade downs already worked up, like of what he would want to do in the draft. And that's talking to a bunch of stuff. But it depends on how it all falls and who signs who and what does what. But we'll see.
T. Will, Carrie, what in the world is going on here? I had this person banned. What is banned user and they're still here? How are they showing up? Terry, you got the money over there? You got the contract in your hand? What's going on, T. Will?
I have no idea, man, but I think they need to be reported. Like at this point, I don't know
Bro,
why
I
they.
don't
I
know
would
how
still
you-
report them. I would
Yeah,
definitely
they
report
need
them.
to be reported. But as for me, look it. Obviously, I can't speak as eloquently as Scott did on the topic, so I won't attempt to. I'll just say I'm definitely trading down. We need more picks. I'm trading down. Whatever it is, whatever Scott's in whatever scenario, I need to walk away with 3 picks. And where I will align with Scott, I align with Scott on a lot, but where I specifically align with him on, I'm probably looking at teams that have 12 picks because there's no way you can sign 12. That's a lot of rookies to sign. So they're probably looking to deal and looking to move up. So I would identify that. I think that's a great strategy. I'm going to use that in our drafts that we do next week, Scott. But I would, I would find someone with maybe 12 picks. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Bro, I don't know. It says
What the
ban
hell,
user.
man?
Bro, it says ban user, and I banned the user, and it still keep coming
Christ.
Dude,
back,
that
bro.
is Kirk.
I
I
have no
swear. That's
fuck
creepy,
this.
man. That's so
Kirk or Jimmy
crazy.
Lake. I don't know what's going on here, but
And
tell you
these
what, fam,
comments
man,
are out of pocket. Like, these
I tell you
comments are
what.
wild. Like,
This ain't gonna be happening much
That's
longer. I don't
crazy,
know what's
man.
going
So-
on, but we're gonna stop.
So just to bring it up a little more, bring it back a little more, to the draft, the Ravens could be a team. They had 4 comp picks. That's a potential trade down at 27. They don't tend to trade up, right? But if they absolutely love a prospect, they don't tend to trade up, but if they absolutely love a prospect, I could see them doing it. They have 5. They have 10 picks. Bills could be a team. You're not trading down with the Panthers because their next pick is at 57 after 15, so that's not a team that's a trade down candidate. The Browns at 33 could be a team if they did a future first.
Mhm.
I mean, some of these teams that have a lot of picks don't really have that pick right after us. And some teams are also, screw them picks. I don't really care. So that's the other thing you got to look at. But the Chargers have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Chargers have 10 picks. Rams have 9 picks. Dolphins have a bunch of picks. Vikings have 4. So Vikings aren't going to be a team that trades. Pats have a bunch. Giants have a bunch. Jets have a bunch. Like, there's teams out there that have a bunch of picks. So you could trade down very easily and get those picks to have on your roster.
And because you talked about this before, Scott, if you do trade down, I think fans are really stuck on the splash player in the draft. right? Going to get the dude from Penn State, going to get the kid Mike Green, or even with the off-field issues, there's still some people still talking about that. Going after Jahai Campbell, going after the kid from Georgia. But if you do trade back, who are some of the names that Falcon fans could, look into? Because some of those splashy names are not going to be there no more. And now it's about selecting the best player available that the Falcons wanted. If you trade back and get your guy, it's not about the big name splashy kid from Georgia or Alabama or Penn State anymore at that point.
So Donovan, and I just found a pronunciation guide, Aziru Aku. He's a guy. Like, he's a dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's a dude. Donovan E. from Boston College. Like, that's the dude that could be that pick late in the round. Defensive line, you could take a guy like a Tyleek Williams, who's a 334, just beast. You could also look at a dude like Derek Harmon in that same kind of spot. Oregon has a couple guys that are just really good. What's the other one's name? Birch, I want to say. Birch could also be a potential pick there. Like, there's a lot of guys that fit right at the end of that first round. But mainly, if you're trading the end of the first round, you're really looking at corners. So, like, Jade Barron, Siobhan Ravel, maybe a safety like Starks or Watts or Eminwari. I mean, you're going to have that ability to do that if you want. So,
Falcon fans, you're hearing it right here from Scott Carasik. There's some other names to, definitely put on your list that's outside of Campbell and Green and Carter and some of those guys that Falcon fans want here in the building, because some fans do want the trade down situation. What is going on? Now you're talking about Walmart? What is going on here?
I am so creeped out because I'm not even gonna.
Not even let me ban the comment. What is going on?
I feel like I gotta check my back seat because I'm not even gonna lie.
That's someone that has a lot. That's someone that has a lot of different accounts, and they're just messing.
Guys,
ever happened.
I have to tell you though, I'm so creeped out. I'm not even joking. Like 2 minutes ago, I literally just pulled up to Walmart. Like, I'm literally in the parking lot right now, and they're putting information about Walmart. That's wild.
Well, they ain't got much longer because once this show ends in a few minutes, we can go ahead and look back and see how to cancel this. Either have to reach out to StreamYard or find out what's going on. But we're going to find out how to ban or delete these users or who's spamming the chat. But
Jack, I just want to say shout out to everyone in the chat because I saw Eric Parker saying 1, 2, Kirk is coming for you. And then I saw Jamal say 3, 4, Kirk is at your door. Like, I was trying I'm so glad there's a mute button because I was just laughing.
It's Felipe Franks. It's not Kirk. Come on, Carrie. What's going on here?
I'm dying laughing.
And Carrie's coming for me, Jack. She says GSGB Hall said, "Go ahead, T. Will. Laugh to scare off Kirk, or maybe do the TMX growl. Whatever, Carrie."
Because
That's
TSGB Hall said
the TMX growl. That'll get him.
Yeah, because TSGB Hall said, "Go ahead, T-Will, and just do your laugh, and that'll scare him off." And I said, "Or you could do the growl."
Hey man, TMX has fans. Damn it.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, subscribe button. It's going down in the major way. Mateo's in the chat. Eric Parker, Jordan Burton's in the chat. Tim Riley, A1 Jamal Hill is in the chat. Smooth C's in the chat. DSG Hall, Tyreek. What's up, Scott?
Let's look at some of these comments, right? One person said 3 defensive tackles that would be available, and that cornerback Amos from Ole Miss. I don't think Amos is a first-round pick.
Okay.
I think he's more of that mid-second, late, early third level guy. Deion Walker has had a couple back surgeries. Kind of want to avoid him until probably the 3rd day, so 4th round. So some of these guys are just like, I don't know if I want to mess with that guy right now.
Yeah. And so Michael's question too as well kind of plays into what you're talking about now. What are the top 3 positions of need after filling all these spots through free agency right now? We're looking at your 2025 Atlanta Falcons depth chart projection that you put together so well.
So I think
Jamal Agnew. Yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's still you want that stud top tier edge.
Mm-hmm.
You still want probably another cornerback to come in, essentially a nickel. And then you'd probably want to have a center. Those are probably your top 3 needs for the whole team.
Mm.
Now, I would still say, hey, if they got a middle linebacker in the first round like Jahad Campbell, that raises the floor of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives you a stud to build around. And that's kind of what I think what Terry Fontenot does with free agency is he says, hey, I've got competent level starters at every spot on my defense. And I think that's the case right now. I have competent level starters at everywhere on my offense. But if I can upgrade, that's where I'm going to grab these guys. And you throw in Jahad Campbell, Caden Ellis slides to where Arnold Ebiketie is on the depth chart. Ebiketie slides to where Floyd is. And then in that nickel set, you're going to have Ebiketie, you're going to have Floyd or Ellis, and then in the middle linebacker role, you're going to have Campbell. Because they love to run that 3-3-5 nickel where it's 3 guys down here, 3 guys down. You got the Mike back here, and then you've got the 2 outside linebackers on the edge. So, like, if you're playing Madden, just to give you an example, it's 3-3-5 Cub. That's the style of what the formation would look like. But they'll drop one of those edge guys depending on the set. And they'll run with those 3 interior guys if they can and have, Harrison, Rook, Dorless, or Harrison, Graham, Fox, or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Also, Damon Onyata. Do you expect David Onyata to be here too as well, or no?
I don't know if Onyemata is going to be on the roster past the draft. I really don't. It depends on who they take. Now, they might keep him through training camp, but I do think they're going to end up cutting him at some point.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. This is why we have Scott Carasik here to talk Falcons football. T-Will, former ATL Sports, one time for the fan. You hear what Scott said, man. Of course, you guys have a show together too as well. You guys talk Falcon football so well. So, Terry, tell me your 3 positions that the Falcons need to address right now going through this free agency still. Of course, the center position, that's probably big right here. We also talked about Ryan Nuzil, if the Falcons want to keep it in-house or if they want to go back out and get another guy too as well. The cornerback position, Terry, your thoughts? The wide receiver position is what's your thoughts there?
You said through free agency and the draft, or just free agency?
Free agency.
Okay, so for me, I don't know that you necessarily. I know you need a center. You need at least a backup center. So I'm gonna agree with Scott and go center. Not that Scott needs me to agree with him. Whatever. I'm gonna agree with Scott and go center. And then I'm going to say you don't necessarily need a wide receiver. You could, because look at you got Drake, you got Mooney, you got Ray, you got Kadero coming back, you got who's the rookie, Casey Washington.
It's like what Jamal Agnew signed into as well. I don't know where Casey's going to play into that role right there because Jamal Agnew is definitely going to get some.
So last year they kept, I want to say, 4 running backs and 6 wide receivers on their roster. This year, I think it's going to be 3 running backs and 7 wide receivers.
Oh, okay. Well,
so but one of the running backs that they kept was Avery Williams. He wasn't really. He played like 7 snaps at running back. He wasn't actually a running back for them. So I think what happens is, Carlos Washington's on the practice squad. They keep Bijan, Tyler, and Jace McClellan on the roster itself. And then if one of those guys goes down for a little bit, they'll call Washington up.
Practice squad.
From the practice squad, and that's what they'll do. I think at returner, you've got Agnew. So that's your 7th wide receiver. He's also a pretty solid 4th or 5th wide receiver. So that's not a bad guy for the rotation. I think he fits more into that slot wide receiver spot. That's why I put him where McLeod is. Obviously, X is Drake London. That's your number 1 guy. Mooney, your true number 2. And then McLeod, your number 3 slot guy. I think Hodge was working behind London, so that's just going based off of snaps from last year. And then I think Washington, when he was playing in Mooney's role. So for me, that's just kind of how that fits.
That makes sense. So yeah, I mean, you could go receiver. The Falcons didn't take any offensive personnel.
to the combine, which means if they did interview personnel at the combine,
they brought the offensive line coach.
They did bring. Okay, all
they
right.
Brought Ledford.
So then that's center, right? So that tells you they may draft a center, right? Outside of that, I don't think they're drafting a wide receiver. They could. I don't think so. So you probably are going to sign a wide receiver. That's 2, right? You said 3. Third one, you re-signed Mike Hughes.
You brought in Keith Taylor.
You signed another safety.
Mm-hmm.
You signed a linebacker. Look, if there's another stud edge rusher out there that you can get, I'm going to go with that.
I mean, looking at Jesse Bates, Jordan Fuller, DeMarco Hellams, Benny Sapp right now that Scott has on his depth chart projection, Benny Sapp I don't think will be in that spot. So unless they go out and get another safety, could that be their draft pick? Could they go out and get another guy through free agency too as well? Because people's also leaning toward Malachi Starks. If Starks gets that role, I mean, would they put him in there, Scott?
So again, you get Malachi Starks, he's starting over Fuller, right?
Yeah.
Instantly starting over Fuller. Fuller then becomes depth behind Bates and Starks, and you're good, right? Again, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't see it as hey, you have to take a guy at 15. You can trade down, still get a starting caliber player, because after the first, 5 or 6 defensive guys, there's really not a guy that you have to take at 15 where you feel like you have to take him. Now, in that 5 or 6 guys, it's like I'm including Jahad Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm including, Abdul Carter. I'm including, Mason Graham. Those are 3 guys that I think would be just studs in this scheme. I'm including Grant from Michigan. Now, if you can trade down and still get Grant, obviously do it, but I don't see that being possible. But again, there's guys out there that are worth it. I just think this edge class, there's one stud. Now, I personally love Princely Umanmiele. I think he's better than Carter long term.
Mm-hmm.
But the league is not going to see him that way. The league probably sees him as a 2nd-round pick. So the thought here is maybe you wait till the 2nd, you take Princely and you just go off with him. And then at the 1st-round pick, you take Jahdae Barron, you take Malachi Starks, you take a defensive tackle because fat guys win championships, something along those lines, right?
That's tough.
That's a wow, man. Give the man his wow, Jack.
Can I get to it?
God, we gotta work. Who's the special effects guy? We gotta talk to him.
Engineering here, Terry. I'm the engineer,
guy, man. Jesus,
doing both jobs over here, Terry. Falcons fans, hit that like, share, subscribe. But go ahead, Scott.
I was gonna say, but Princely, his film is really, really good. And I again, like I said earlier in the show, right? The we need a thug on defense, we need a guy who's a bad off-field thing. If they've got an assault charge, okay, sure, whatever. Like, I want my edge rusher to be a guy who's going to fight people. I don't need someone with a sexual assault charge.
Oh, wow.
Buddy, I'm not laughing.
That's just how I feel. Like,
just the way
if a dude got in a fight,
the Thugnificent comment was running right there.
If a dude got in a fight and that's his baggage, like, whatever. And if you dig in and you're like, okay, that dude got in a fight because the dude was making fun of his mom, like, even better, right? That offensive lineman's always making fun of your mom. That offensive lineman's a dickhead. Like, hell yeah, get that guy. Mm-hmm. But like anything past like an assault or a battery charge, like I don't want to mess with some of these guys. Like, we don't need certain things in this locker room, right? A dude who doesn't like his mom being talked about, that's the guy you want in your locker room, right?
Just don't step on the logo. That's how it is with the Falcons.
Well, you can't step on the logo at the Falcons locker room anymore.
Yeah, because
they put it in the ceiling.
I see what it is.
But you can walk under it. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
There's so many jokes in my head right now. Jeez, they're inappropriate, but gosh, this sounds like a conversation that Terry's having with somebody going, look, okay,
Talk about your mom, kick your ass, good. Sexual assault, bad. We just can't have these guys on the team. Like, come on. Like, it was so funny in my head.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing
I
because
think,
it's funny.
we're definitely telling the truth about that when it comes to the Falcons. And
No,
who they would select. They don't play with off-the-field issues. There's Arthur Blank does not play about that.
No,
right?
There
always
are
like
things that
ahead of-
be forgivable. That's
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say. But
Right.
those things are not what
Sexual
is in
assault.
Mike Green's past.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And not only
those
that,
things
Scott,
might be in another prospect's past, and it might
Right.
have come out, and then they've been like, well, he got in a fight, whatever. Like most NFL teams, if a dude gets in a fight, who cares?
Yeah.
Also, Abdul Carter's not getting past like 3 or 4. Like,
He's
That's a
probably the
pipe
first
dream.
pass rusher off the board. Selected.
guarantee he's top 5. Like,
Yeah.
I'll put money on it. That dude's not going any lower than 5.
yeah.
Miss Carey, do want to ask you. Last year, we was live for the draft. Bodie, of course, looking down at his phone, looking up, and then give us the reaction of the player that was going to be selected. Of course, he was a couple seconds ahead of us.
Those are
Carey,
his
is
words.
there a shocker that you're expecting this year with the Falcons? What could possibly be a shocker for you, Miss Carey, with the way the Falcons are, trying to?
Don't do it, Carey. Don't do it, Carey. Don't do it.
Okay,
Carey.
I learned my lesson last
Don't do it,
draft. I'm
Carey.
not going to say what the Falcons aren't going to do
Don't do
because
it.
I literally said the Falcons are not going to draft a quarterback, and then that's what
We
did.
said it. We
Yeah, we
said
did
it.
say that. So,
We said it, and it came true.
yeah, and then the year before, yeah, I'm just not gonna do that to myself again because I'm on the record like just saying we are not doing this, and then we literally did that. So, but I am thankful that we did do that. Just saying. But I think a shocker move for me would be like, even though you could argue it's a need, like a center. I would say a shock move for me would be going offensive line in the first round, just because we've seen the reports that they were only interested in defensive players. They really haven't brought any is it the scouting that they
They were
didn't bring
blowing
in?
smoke all off season with all the defensive moves and all this stuff just to go
Right.
get us
So
an offensive player at 15. That would be a shock.
yeah, that
So
would be a shocker for me. Yeah.
Scott, you have a shocker?
for me, it would be a shocker. However, if he's there, it wouldn't be a bad pick, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
If Armand Membu is the pick at 15
Mhm.
as a long-term right tackle that could be the blindside guy, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if the Falcons made that pick.
Where's he projected now?
Projected top 20.
Mm.
And he's a monster on film. And if you want a guy, again, you can never go wrong with he's 6'4", not 6'3", like what they're saying. Really, yeah, 6'4", 330, moves real quick, good long arms, engages in the blocks well, fantastic pass protector, needs work in his run blocking. But hey, guess what? I'm okay with that because I'd rather have a guy on the blind side be a really good pass protector and then teach him how to run block, not the nastiness that Membu has on his film.
Also sitting behind Jake Matthews, this could be Jake Matthews' replacement if the Falcons select that guy, correct?
No, he'd be
McGarry's side.
McGarry's
You
replacement.
put him on McGarry's side
Mhm.
because you want that blind side guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got that blind side locked up with Membu, you can keep Matthews at his deal because the money's not really going to be an issue with a rookie guy versus Matthews on $20 million a year for the next 4 years. Matthews still plays left tackle. Matthews sight side now. So Matthews is essentially a right tackle for the last part of his career because your quarterback's left-handed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your right tackle's now your left tackle. Your left tackle's now your right tackle. Well, McGarry is probably going to be gone. So, okay, now you've got Matthews on that strong side, essentially. He'll be fine. He'll be better on the sight side. And then a guy like Membu protecting that back end, I think this would be a surprise, but it would also be a very good pick.
Falcons, you're hearing it. I'm sorry, Falcon fans, you're hearing it right here from Scott Carasik, who talks Falcons football not only on podcast but offline too as well on social media. I mean, Scott is a knowledgeable brother when it comes to knowing about this Falcons and what direction they possibly could be going toward. You heard him mention already Princely. How do you mention his last name? I'm in. How you say his name? Princely.
Uman Mielen.
Uman. Ooh man, we should say ooh man from these one Ole Miss. That's a guy right there to watch for too as well. Of course, you have Armand Membu from Missouri. Scott's putting out two names that fans shouldn't be shocked for if you hear those names be selected, because these guys definitely will be selected on the first night, probably on Thursday, draft night.
Be shocked if he's not taken in the first 20 picks. Like,
Armand?
Can I also say that to DSG Beast Hall's reply? I feel like that would be definitely a shock move for me. I don't know if that's also a shock move for him or he's joking since he put LOL, but yeah, that would be very shocking. I don't see that happening. I also don't see, as much as I want Kirk to go, I don't see Kyle leaving. He's going to be a Falcon next season.
Kyle posting online with the social media that, he's going to have a, standout season, of course, hanging with Michael Penix at the TPC golf or TGC golf tournament that they had recently. And, Michael talking about he's going to be working with his offense soon too as well. I mean, I think Kyle's going to be involved, and I think the Falcons are going to, put a lot into getting Kyle the ball this season too as well. But Kyle in the package this year, before the offseason started, people was leaning toward the Kyle Pitts trade. Now, as we get closer to the draft, I'm kind of over that. I think Kyle will be here with this team.
Would it be funny, Jack, if Kyle got traded?
It would. That would be the shocker.
Like,
that would be the shocker.
If he was like, I'm going to have a great season, and he ends up having a great season for like the Titans or somebody.
I mean, you're hearing.
I don't think he gets traded.
They mentioned in the reports, when they had the press conference about what they expect from Kyle this year. And of course, Kyle, he has some rough times here in Atlanta, of course, with the quarterback issue and the injury and everything. And, some fans said he wasn't 100%, and, he's not running the routes correctly. He's not putting 100% into his route running ability and everything. So, I think this year Kyle can definitely get some, some targets with Michael Penix. Michael is the future quarterback here in Atlanta. So you got to get the ball to your stars. You got to get the ball, as you see last year, to Drake London. You got to get the ball to even Bijan if he's out there in the slot, wherever Bijan's going to be. Got to get the ball to Kyle Pitts. I mean, it's just what it is. Mooney, too, as well. You definitely have to get the ball to Mooney. Please get the ball to Mooney. That's
Mooney's always open.
Please, and Ray, too, as well. But I trust in Michael Penix to get the job done, right? Like, I think the team this year is going to be, it's going to be pretty decent. I think fans are just waiting for that big splashy move, that Trey Hendrickson, which we talked about here on the channel. And of course, the Bengals, for those that do not know, they look like they're probably going to keep Trey Hendrickson. Same for the Myles Garrett report when they came out from Cleveland. How could the Falcons get some of these players, some of these tier 1 top pass rushers? It was kind of difficult for us to get those guys, but we was hoping. And right now, I think the Falcons might be going forward with that. Scott, I want to ask you a question. Braylon Trice, man. Fans are not talking about him too much as well. I mean, he has a lot on his shoulders next year, coming back from injury. And, of course, with them getting rid of Grady Jarrett and with Leonard Floyd being now in the building, and AK is on the last year of his contract here. You got DeAndre Malone, too, as well in the contract situation. Like, Braylon Trice has to step up big, Scott, you think?
I think the guy who's got to step up is Arnold Ebiketie. And I think Ebiketie will. And I think Ebiketie is going to be that main guy in the pass rush playing, 650, 700 snaps. And then the next guy in the pass rush is going to be Floyd at 600 to 650 snaps. And then after that, you're going to have Trice coming in on a rotational role while he's recovering from his ACL tear. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, or that makes a lot more sense. Sorry, I was reading the comment. Falcons draft Tyler Warren trade picks. That ain't gonna happen.
Tyler Warren, though.
I'm just telling you right now, Pitts ain't going anywhere. They love him. They're trying to figure out packages on how to use him more in the slot and more outside, and have London in the slot, and have situations where he and London are lining up next to each other with switch releases in a combination that's favorable to give Penix a good throw. Like, they don't care about the noise from the fan base on this one.
Yeah. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Miss Carrie, Falcons off season. You know, the grades have, I'm guessing, been going around the Falcons community about the Falcons got an A here, got a B here, got a C here. Carrie, what do you grade the Falcons so far in their off season with the moves that they've made?
Oh man, we're starting with me. Oh
She-
jeez.
Should we go to Terry first? I know Terry probably got a lot to say.
Oh yeah, let's Terry go ahead first,
Okay,
please.
Terry,
I
you know,
love
all
it.
season grade so far, Terry, right? Now, of course, you know, we're not, of course, throwing the book at the Falcons and just judging them 100%. Of course, they have a lot more moves still to make. But, Terry, in your eyes as a Falcon fan, what grade do you give the Falcons so far in their offseason moves?
Oof.
Be kind, Terry.
Yeah, I know. I'm working through the dark corners of my mind. Okay. I'm gonna
Also look
say,
at, you know, put everything into
I
play.
hear
with the
voices
quarterbacks.
in my head. They call to me. They understand. They call to me. Sorry, that's just what I heard when you said
it's
that.
okay, man. And you know what? That voice is not bad, man. We might have to feature that on What the Falcon. Now you
This is awful.
wow. Now you're on time. Okay, you get it.
About the cap situation and Kirk Cousins and
Yeah,
going
I'm
on
gonna
too as well.
I'm gonna
you
give
know.
him a B minus C plus, right? I think that's fair. We haven't addressed the elephant in the room, which is Kirk Cousins. So I got to take off points for that. But I mean, outside of that, look, one thing I will say that I 100% agree with Scott on is that they've added guys in their defense that fit their system with what they're trying to do, which that I have to applaud them on.
Yeah.
Because last year with Jimmy Lake, it's like, you guys are just going to do what I tell you to do. And I'm going to run defenses that make no sense. And you guys just deal with it. And they're not doing that this year. There's clearly an agenda to get guys that fit our system that can adjust to what we do. So I got to applaud them on
the
that.
cap situation too as well. I think Leonard Floyd signing, you know, people are kind of looking at Leonard Floyd like, oh man, you guys going to have to get these players that's washed and all this stuff. That's not the case with the Falcons. I think they did their homework on Leonard Floyd. And with Jeff Ulbrich, you know, if you put the right packages together, Scott can tell you Leonard Floyd can get after it. I see Leonard getting more than 5 sacks here in Atlanta this year. You know, if he's having this team. There goes Scott. Scott's agreeing with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
Jordan Fuller, he fits into play of what you need at his safety. Plus, he has, you know, some ties with Raheem too as well. You also have Agnew, who was just signed today. Avery Williams, who went to the Eagles, I believe it was. You need a kick return guy. Jamal Agnew is a guy that you know teams would have to watch out for that when it comes to kick return and punt return this year. Yeah. Right? You just can't put this guy in open space. You guys seen it. Is he a Devin Hester? Not saying all that. But he has some kick returns before the rule change. You know, that is some highlight tapes. And I think if he has the right blocking system with a coach like Maurice Williams, who I think is a decent special teams coach too as well in the NFL, a coach like Maurice Williams, helping out with Jamal Agnew and some of these guys, Mike Ford bringing him back too as well. They're getting the guys that they need, depth pieces too as well. I can't wait for the draft. I know Carrie can't wait for the draft. I know Terry can't wait for the draft. Scott, I don't know if you're busy draft night. We'd love to have you here. We have a lot of people that's going to be showing up, and we have some time slots too as well. But Scott, we love to have
alone
you
at the house for draft night.
Awesome,
Scott. Do you have
my wife? My wife is going down to Florida, so I'm good for all 3 days.
What? Scott Carasik is now joined one time for the fan on draft night. We got Big Little Country Sports going to be joining us. We got Ricondo going to be joining us. We got Lisa Shepard. We got Bodie. We got Terry. We got Carrie. We got Scott Carasik. A1, I believe, is going to be joining us too as well. Man, it's going.
We got all stars.
Also, I just want to throw this out there about Agnew. He's not some like mediocre punt returner, mediocre kick returner. He has 6 return touchdowns in his career.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like all time, he's near the top of the like both the punt return and the kick return. Well, at least the punt return list. He was a first team All-Pro punt returner back in 2017. So like he may not have that level of speed more, but he's still a hell of a punt returner, still a hell of a kick both units very easily.
For your gamblers in the chat, special teams, Agnew scores this year, yes or no? Over under.
Probably 1
Okay.
total.
We need that in Atlanta. When was the last time we
Yeah, I'm
had
with
that?
that
But
one.
Here in
1
Atlanta.
is fine, right?
Can we do
One,
that at home, please?
Probably.
Week 1
Mhm.
against the Panthers. Not saying I saw the schedule or anything. Just saying, just the Panthers. You never know. Just putting
Yeah.
it.
Hey, Jack, as far as my grade, I had to give him a demerit for releasing Grady. So, yeah,
Hey man,
that's
let's not,
yeah,
let's not
it's a
do
C
I-
minus for me, by the way.
We're
I had
not.
to
We're
do
getting
that.
ready to end the show now. I'll start it back up again. Falcon fans, hit that like,
so
share,
glad.
subscribe button.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Carrie. You there, Carrie?
Carrie,
I think Carrie's a scooter. Okay, can you?
Carrie,
Is everything
you all right?
One time for the fan, hit that like, share.
Now we got to
subscribe
go
button.
down to
Carrie will be
Florida.
back.
Carrie, you all
Did
right?
Kirk Cousins finally kidnap her?
Damn it, Kirk.
Carrie, can you?
Sorry.
Can you
Sorry
cut the
about
camera
that.
off? Oh my god!
Can you hear me?
Falcon fans.
Yeah,
you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
All right.
can hear
Sorry about that. Okay.
No, you're good.
No,
Good
what I
break,
was gonna
Carrie.
say, what I was gonna say is that I had to watch my bag, leaving Walmart. I don't know that creeper is still around here, but
Damn.
no, I'm glad you guys said it. I didn't want to go first because I didn't want to come off as like negative, but yeah, I was honestly gonna say C minus. When you asked, that's the first thing that came to my mind because I didn't want to be super negative and say D or F, obviously, but obviously it's not an A and obviously it's not a B. So for me, yeah, C minus. Like you mentioned, obvious. Points taken off with the Grady situation for me at least. And unfortunately it's kind of sucks because they're strapped for cash, right? So it's not like you can expect them to make big flashy moves, but we haven't made any big flashy moves. But it's like, well, what do you expect? We don't have money like that. So but we have made some moves. It seems like a lot of special teams moves. So if you're a big special teams guy, like good for you because we've been making all those moves. And yeah, like Scott said earlier, I don't think any of the moves we have made really affect what we do with that pick in the first round because for me, most of the moves are not. It's not that they don't move me. It's just they're not. I don't know. It's not no big flashy signings. Not that none of them are starters because they are, but um none of them, I don't know how to put it.
They're
It's just
floor. They're not gonna put this team over the top, but they're gonna give you
right.
solid play. Like
Right. Okay,
you're not
exactly.
you didn't sign Pro Bowlers or All Pros, except maybe at
Exactly.
returner. But even then, like even if Jamal Agnew's a first team All Pro returner, that doesn't change your team enough to where you got a whole new playoff team. You still need to have these guys on defense play well. Zoe Carter got signed before Judon because Judon chose not to sign any of the 6 offers he has right now. Like, it's not because Zoe deserved to get signed before Judon.
Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're looking at this team, go ahead, Scott.
And speaking of, Damone Harris had an offer with the same team Zoe Carter signed for more money, and was like, "Nah, I don't want to go play for the worst team in the league." Like,
that's tough.
So,
Question for you, Scott. Is one of those offers to Judon from us?
I do not know for sure, but it has been rumored that he is they want to bring him back, is the rumor. They want to bring back Damone Harris is also a rumor. So that's what's being floated out there right now. But that doesn't mean that that's 100% like confirmed information or anything. Again, just rumors. They would love to have Judon back, is what I've heard from a couple friends, but that doesn't mean that they're going to have Judon back. That doesn't mean they're going to sign him back.
Yeah.
It's just they like him. They think he's a good player. They understand that the scheme was an issue last year. That's the kind of thing that they're looking at, right? And it wouldn't, again, it's all about money, right? How much do they like Judon to bring him back? How much do they like Damone Harris to bring him back? How much do they like James Smith-Williams to bring back? They're not
Panthers
bringing
not
back
know-
Ross Dwelly. They're not bringing back Nathan Peterman.
Right, Scott? We can rule Justin Simmons out at this point with the Jordan Fuller signing.
Simmons is not coming back.
Okay.
Simmons has better offers elsewhere. He just doesn't want to be here anymore. That's fine. Whatever. Micah Abernathy might be coming back just for depth, but it would be a very minimum deal, and it's if he clears medically. That was his issue. They want Kevin King. They want D. Alford back. They're talking with both those guys. That doesn't mean that they're going to re-sign or anything. But those guys are talking with the team, right? All these guys, outside of like Peterman, Dwelly, Harrison Hand, who was a guy on, injured reserve, Rashawn Evans, like I don't see them bringing him back.
Let's get to a guy who I played in Madden the other day,
Simmons.
who kind of cheated a little bit. D. Alford, Glow, man. What's your thoughts on that, man? Big shot, Glow.
If they bring back Alford, it's going to be for like $2 million, 2.5 range. It's not going to be a big deal. He's worth every penny of that just for the depth that he would bring at corner. He's not going to change your draft plans. He's going to compete at punt returner. He's going to compete at kick returner. He's going to compete for the nickel spot. That's D. Alford. Now, if Will Johnson's there at 15 and you can take him, that's your number 2 corner. Hughes is playing your slot, and you got Alford rotating in with Hughes. You got Phillips out there rotating in with Johnson. Completely different situation.
Falcons fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. What's up?
So,
hey,
yeah,
going down the major way, Scott.
If they pay Alford anything over the minimum, listen, at this point, $2 million, $2.5 million is the minimum for a guy. That's it. That's the minimum it's going to take to bring a guy like that back. It won't be guaranteed. It's honestly nothing compared to the cap because it's less than 1/100th of the cap. So who cares?
Kerry, do we need MC Hammer back on the sideline? Is that going to get this Falcon fan base back up?
Can't touch this.
Back up in the stands again.
Isn't he in jail?
What?
Is he?
Was it MC Hammer that did the tax evasion thing, or was it
What?
Wesley Snipes? One of those guys did.
I know
Snipes
was involved
Wesley
in that
Snipes
too,
did go to jail for tax.
Wesley Snipes. I know. Okay, so Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
went to jail. I always get them confused in my head because they were both big in the early 90s and then kind of disappeared. And like one of them went to jail and one of them just disappeared. So I was like, I don't know which one was which.
No, he lost all his money. Hammer lost all his money.
Gotcha. Hammer's just broke.
Yeah. Hammer lost all his money.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Hit that like, share, subscribe button.
Hey, man.
not even.
Can't
I
touch it.
mean, it is what it is.
Shout out to him.
Can't touch it.
Okay. So Hammer went bankrupt. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
No,
He was-
Yeah,
Hammer-
He had a rolling posse of about 70 people that he kept on payroll. So it just, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot of people he had with him. So, hey, man, got to learn your lesson.
Terry, were you a part of the crew back then too as well?
I
You were
was
on the sideline
not.
too,
I
Terry,
was,
with
you
Hammer?
know what? I wanted to be. Okay. I tried. I auditioned for the Hammer group or whatever, but apparently my skills were just not up to par. I guess they
Your
felt like
dancing skills or your bodyguarding skills?
my dancing
Shit.
skills. Yeah, I was too skinny to bodyguard at that point.
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't the big behemoth that you see before you. I had a waist then.
Let's go.
I could see my shoes back then.
I don't know how tall you are,
Oh.
man. That's why I'm like, I just
Oh.
assume you're like 6'1", 6'2".
I'm
So I'm like,
you know what? Thank you. I'm 5'9". I'm
oh, okay.
I do got to put out there, Terry. Remember you was mentioning a long time ago about the Donkey Hooters comment, and then
You
you
said
had
about the what now?
the Donkey Hooters comment that she was putting out a long
Oh,
time
yeah,
ago
what
here on
about
One Time
it?
for the Fan.
What about it?
Because your favorite restaurant appears to be Hooters too as well. Am I not?
You're absolutely correct, sir.
Am
As
I
a matter of
correct about
fact,
that?
Why?
as
Wow.
Well,
Terry's a Hooters
the wings are just terrible at Hooters. And if you want to see boobs, there's the internet. So like,
Scott, we got to
You don't
talk
really-
about this offline, man. We got to.
Oh god.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Terry,
at this
this is
point,
another
like
podcast
Hooters
right here,
has
too, as
served
well.
its
We start talking about
purpose.
Hooters.
and the food isn't worth
God,
going
you're
to.
dancing on my religion right now, man. Come on, I'm
Look at
trying to
Yuri.
do
Yuri's in the
a show
chat. The
from
hot wings are
Hooters.
good at Hooters. He's over there posting from Hooters.
Oh,
But the hot
man.
wings are good at W&B Factory, and they're good at a bunch of places.
God, I'm trying to meet
Oh,
you at Hooters
wow.
to do a show, dude. Come on, man.
Shameless plug.
Come on.
Yuri.
Wow, Yuri, you know steak, but I guess you don't know wings. Just
Yuri
saying.
knows steak. Yuri's out here in
He
these
does.
streets, man.
Yuri knows steak.
He knows
Yuri knows
steak. He
steak
does.
well.
He does not know.
Wait. How does Yuri know steak? Where does he go?
Everywhere, dude.
I mean, he goes to fine dining, but
Yuri's
the
eating
reason why I say
everywhere.
that is
Finest of the
because
finest steak restaurants.
he knows how to get his steak cooked properly. I have to ask you,
Oh,
Scott,
here
like
it
I
comes.
ask every special guest, how do you take your steak cooked? What
So
temperature?
ideally medium rare,
Love it. Yes.
but hear me out. Over a high heat, so that the crust it's got like a charred, crispy crust, but on the inside it's medium rare.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's called Pittsburgh style, and
Nothing
it's
wrong
really
with that.
good.
As
Okay.
long as you didn't say well done, Scott.
No, never trust a
long
man
as
who
you
eats
didn't
steak
say
well
that.
done.
Oh no.
Oh,
As long as
come
you
on,
didn't say well
I
done.
have to put our guy out there. Berto and Jack both like
Cancel
well
these draft
done.
plans.
Hold on. And Jamel, yes, Peaches is there. Yes, Peaches.
Hey,
is there.
so
Yeah.
if you want a steak with flavor, you order it, anywhere between rare and medium, right? I'll eat a rare steak. I have no problem with that. But I'll also eat a medium steak that chef messes up. Like, whatever.
Shit, not a baby wolf.
But if you eat a steak well done, you might as well eat a hamburger.
Oh my gosh.
That's what
I
Big
mean-
Low Country says to Berto, because Berto tagged us in his steak dinner, and it literally looked so dark.
Nah,
And Country said, "Is that a burger?" Because it was so dark. It looked so
Like
cooked.
Or a tire.
That was a different situation.
Because
Look,
you're chewing rubber.
Yeah.
What
depends
is
on who's
that?
cooking the steak too as well, because some cooks are not, they're not like real cooks. They just out there, they just have a job. So he probably went to a restaurant where this dude just threw the steak on, probably walked away from it, came back when the timer had went off like 5 minutes after, and gave it to Berto. Berto for taking the picture. I hope he gave it back to them, because that
Look
steak
at
was like-
Jack justifying his addiction. You guys see that right there? I can quit anytime.
Look,
At least try medium
Jack,
well.
Jack,
At least try medium
no.
I can quit well done
No.
steak
I have
anytime.
no problem eating medium well. But
Medium.
most of the time,
Medium is the most the
Well
steak
done.
should be cooked.
I've tried it before. Have no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? I just do. I
Steak
just kinda
medium.
like one
It
of
will
those
taste
steak
better.
now
I
and then,
promise you.
I'm just saying.
Tim,
I'm a medium rare is the most I want my steak cooked, and if I got it medium, then it's because my chef messed up. But well done means that you have never had really cooked steak, is what that
Man,
tells
I
me.
done seen some steak
Sheesh.
still dancing.
And if
on
you think
medium
that's
well
blood
sometimes,
that's
man.
coming out, it's not.
Sheesh.
Well, to answer your question, Jamal, we like medium. Yes, I'm with you, medium. That's how I get.
mean-
If I go to a steakhouse, I'm ordering my steak medium.
Carrie,
I
what
have
you know,
not
there's
ordered
people in
well
the
done
world-
since I
to-
was like 10 years old.
Carrie,
Just
you know there's
just
people in the
trust
world that
me.
love medium or love well done, right?
Go to
This is-
McKendrick's in Sandy Springs and get a steak from them medium rare, and you'll love it.
Falcon fans in the chat, well
McKendrick's.
done or medium
Trust me.
well for your steak? Well done or medium well? Now we got some
I
well
like
done
No one
here
is
in
gonna
the chat.
say
Team
well
well
done.
done
I like
is here
medium
in the
well.
chat. They
But
showing up strong. They showing up strong.
You're
here, man.
banned if you say well done. I'm
They're
sorry.
showing up
Deshaun.
strong here.
Oh
Ugh.
wow,
Scott.
Deshaun. Oh
Team
wow.
well
Scott,
done.
have you ever
Come
had
on.
Ruth's Chris?
Ruth's Chris is overpriced for what it is.
Oh, I
It's
love it.
sea
I love
level
Ruth's Chris.
steak.
Oh,
And also I don't believe in going to chain restaurants for something as nice as a steak.
Mm.
If I'm getting a steak, I'm going to Max Chop House on Marietta Square. I'm going to McKendrick's. I'm going down to Chops down in Buckhead. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay,
like
where's
Pullman and
Yuri? 'Cause
Finch.
you guys would get along well, Scott.
I'm
Because
not-
he used to all those fancy
Yuri, give us
steakhouses.
some steak restaurants, man. You see Jamal Hill in the chat. You're everywhere. He's probably at a steak restaurant right now.
He's probably at a steak restaurant right now. He probably is. Yeah.
Give
He
us some spots.
probably
Okay.
is.
So Scott, you got to give me like your list, because I want you to know, okay, that you've just cut my soul when you said that about Ruth's Chris. But it's okay. It's okay.
I've been to Ruth's Chris once, and I could instantly taste that they were using the same level meat that a Taco Bell is.
Shit.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Compared to
Wow.
prime level
He's the double wow.
good steaks that you get from a place like a McKendrick.
Damn.
Ouch!
He's the triple wow.
Although I will say,
Jack, I'm gonna need PTO for the next
best
5
steak-
restaurants because Scott cut me.
the
Scott
best
cut me right here.
the best
Yuri,
steak
what
I've
are your
ever had
favorite
in my life
steakhouses?
is in Charleston
Oh,
at a place called Hall's Chop House.
Look, Yuri. Dantana's. Look,
Best
he was
place to
there a
go.
couple hours ago.
Dantana's is solid, man.
Yuri knows, man.
Dantana's is solid. Dantana's is good. Like,
all right, Scott. If you're gonna make a charge like that, you got to give me like 5 great restaurants. We'll talk offline because I'm gonna visit every one of them and I'm gonna give them the taste test because you're dancing on my religion right now. Okay, the best steak I've ever had was at Ruth Chris twice. It was delicious. I still remember it like it was yesterday. Hell, I remember what I had on. So if you're gonna tell me that they're not first rate, you got to give me some options, buddy. You got to do it.
I mean, so McKenna is the one in Sandy Springs that's really good.
Mechanic.
There's a bunch of really good steakhouses in Atlanta, though. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then what is it? Bacchanalia. If you go there, if you want like a real fancy dinner, they make a lamb that's ridiculous, but at the same time, they don't give you enough of the lamb, so you're like, I want like 3 times this amount.
Hey, Falcons fans, you're getting a little
insane.
taste of not only food here, but of course football too as well, man. We love talking about this. We had Chef Matt on the channel, earlier.
You guys are making me hungry now.
Well. We're gonna get Chef Matt back, man, because we got to talk some more food with Chef Matt. We got to ask him the question about well done steak or medium well, because I know y'all over here arguing.
There's no way a chef is gonna say well done. I'm sorry.
No chef is gonna say
no
anything
way.
past medium. If we're being
That's
honest
true.
with you,
A
a chef is gonna sit there and go, the reason why you eat a well done steak is because you haven't been cultured enough to eat a medium rare steak.
You know what?
That's what a chef will tell you.
We need to get him on.
A chef will
ASAP.
rip you a new one just because you're like, oh, I like my steak well done. You'd be like, okay, you don't like steak then. Like,
I'm sure with a chef, he's gonna give an answer to why, in a positive way, why you want the well done.
So
steak.
we got
he's not.
We got to
He's gonna
ask
say
him.
the proteins are broken down too much.
Scott's like he's not.
He's not.
gotta ask him.
He's
He's
just
not
not.
taking your side, Jack. Don't worry about
He's
it.
not. I've got a couple of friends who are chefs, and they're like, anybody who eats a well done steak doesn't actually like steak. They like meat.
Wow.
The boy say he's a craven in the chat.
Well, I like both.
In the chat.
But Scott, you got to give me the list, man. You got to look offline. You got to shoot me the list tonight, because in the next 8 months, I'm gonna go to every one of those steakhouses, and we're gonna get together, Scott, and we're gonna do a show, and we're gonna review them. Okay? I'm just saying, because you're dancing on my religion right now. Jesus.
I'm trying to think of all the different places I've been to in Atlanta because
STK is one.
growing up here, there's so many different places.
I've heard of STK.
You're
It's kind
off
of like
saving money and going to McKendrick's.
Yeah.
McKendrick's is
Okay.
like half the price of STK.
Yeah.
To Chris
Kevin
Tyler's
Rathburn's
point,
Steakhouse.
to Chris's point, I do want to try Wagyu. I've never tried it. My brother
so
is in the
good.
military. He was on deployment in Dubai, and he told me that Wagyu was amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, he talks about it
Yeah,
like all the time.
Yeah, 2 Urban Licks is a nice place I like going to as well. Get some good Wagyu steak.
See, for me, that's very far down, right?
Virginia Highlands area.
Yeah, like I'm in Marietta, so I'm gonna go to like Sandy Springs, Dunwoody. I'll go to like Smyrna area sometimes, like Canoe. They're not a steakhouse, but they're just a really good restaurant. Sometimes they do have steak, sometimes they've got lamb, and they're really good to go to.
Do they have one off Howard Mill? The steakhouse over there off Howard Mill too as well?
I believe so.
We're talking food and football here, Falcon fans. This is going down in a major way, man. We love talking pretty much everything when it comes to the Falcons or just Atlanta. So big shout out to everybody here in the chat that's talking Falcons football, that's talking about restaurants in Atlanta. For those that's looking for, some restaurants coming up, and we're dropping some right here in the chat. We're talking about it on the show. But at the end of the day, what's up?
The one in Roswell that I was thinking about is called Little Alley Steak.
Little Alley Steak in Roswell. Man, we giving plugs.
They're also in
Little
Buckhead. They're really good.
Okay.
And what they do is they take bone marrow
Mm-hmm.
and they make butter out of the bone marrow.
Mm-hmm.
and then they pour that over the top of the steak, and
Mhm.
it's so good.
Damn.
Which you guys know Morton's too as well. You guys can also hear.
I've heard of Morton's. Yeah, I've heard of them.
I had Morton's in
heard
They've
Jacksonville.
been
It's
around
pretty good.
forever.
Yeah. I mean, that bill is crazy too as well when you get it. Especially depends on who you're eating with.
Oh, none of these places I'm talking about are going to be like, oh yeah, I went In and Out for $30. Like,
No.
not a single one of
No,
these
no, no.
places.
Yeah.
It's one of those bills you're like, oh shit, damn. How many people you had with us?
Just your side is $30.
Yeah. I mean, some of those
Sides are not included.
Yeah, but you can eat the side with 4 people and still have enough for leftovers. Like,
That is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
we're talking about
well,
those
this
kinds of
is
sides.
awkward.
Yeah. We're not
This is
talking about
awkward.
Outback or Longhorn here, Falcon fans.
Oh.
Falcon fans, hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Okay, go ahead and start wrapping up the show. Scott, we got to get you back on this podcast. Of course, draft night. Let's get you back here. Talk some Falcons. So much is going to be happening up until that point. Falcons free agency is still on the way. Of course, they might make some more moves. If they don't, then we'll talk about that when it comes up to draft night.
Hey,
But
Jack, not to cut you off. We need to Atlanta home Atlanta. So sorry about your dad.
There's another. Oh.
Yeah, sorry about your dad.
Let me just go around and get to the comment.
Sorry about that. At the bottom.
Atlanta hometown. Yep, I see it right here. Atlanta hometown.
Yeah.
My dad died because they could not.
Yeah, so sorry about your dad.
Hey, prayers up, man, to Atlanta hometown.
I'm sorry.
So sorry about your
I hate to hear that. Yeah. One of my good friends, his dad died of leukemia, and he actually donated his bone marrow, and just it wouldn't take. They tried it like 3 times too. I don't even know how that happened.
Hey, big shout out to the chat for reacting to that too as well, man. That's what it's all about here. One time for the fan, man. You know, we're all in this together too as well. If we're talking Falcons, we're talking family, talking football, Falcons family football. Just remember that here on One Time for the Fan, and food too as well. We got to throw that in there. We definitely went over the mark for, you know, the podcast. We went over the grace period too as well. But that's what it's about on One Time for the Fan. Like, we enjoy doing this. We went to the draft pick. We went to who potentially the Falcons could be looking at. We went to Kirk Cousins. Free agency moves the Falcons have already made. Like, we're trying to build this roster together, just like Terry and the rest of the crew. So big shout out to Terry from One Time for the Fan and for my ATL Sports. Carrie too as well, and Scott Carasik for just joining us here tonight, taking an hour and some change out of their day to come talk with the Falcon fans, because, you know, we're all here chatting about what moves is going to happen next and so forth, and we're all excited, right? I mean, we want this team to win. It's been so many years since we've been on that winning streak, that winning path. I mean, honestly, you can go back to when we were 6-3. You know, we were talking playoffs here on the channel, and of course, you can see what happened there. But we still believe in our team. It's not going to happen. It's not going to go nowhere. That faith ain't going nowhere. So let's go ahead and get these shout outs in. Then we'll wrap it up. We'll start with Miss Carrie first here on One Time for the Fan. Big shout out to Miss Carrie for everything she does too as well. You guys don't know that she works hard when it comes to
she does.
One Time for the Fan, and of course with other podcasts too as well. I'm sure Carrie's out here probably planning a show of her own. You never know. But Miss Carrie definitely keeps it real when it comes to talking Falcons or Manchester City. We just want to put that out there.
Right.
Tell you what, if Carrie ever did come out with her show, she'd be the quickest to 1,000 subscribers ever.
I appreciate that, T. Will. But no, shout out to everyone in the chat. I appreciate you all. Yeah, I am just thankful to be here and talk Falcons with you guys. Shout out to Scott for joining us. It's been great. I always respect all his knowledge. He's super knowledgeable with the cap and with draft prospects. I really, appreciate all his knowledge. So thank you for coming on. And yeah, I appreciate everyone in the chat, all the comments, even the crazy ones. I mean, I guess they gave us a laugh, but that was wild.
About your stalker? Yes.
Yes, that was wild, but yeah, funny at the same time. I appreciate everyone in the chat for the laughs and just supporting us as usual. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon.
Carrie, where can we find you on social media? I'm sure everybody wants to probably talk to you offline too as well about these Falcons. Where can we find you on social media?
Yes, you can all follow me on Twitter at CarrieLynnXOX, except for Kirk Cousins' burner account. And no Aints fans are allowed. You literally get blocked. And I might make an exception for Jordan because he's an Aints and Eagles fan, so he seems all right. But in general, yeah, if I get Eagles or get Aints fans, they get automatic block.
Amen.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with that. So,
That's right.
but yeah, everybody's welcome except for Kirk Cousins' burner account or Jimmy Lake
Shit.
burner account, anybody else. But actually, I don't know if you guys saw the chat, but a few minutes ago I tried to click on my Twitter and it says I'm locked out, some suspicious activity. So
I
there's some
just
shady
clicked
shit
on it
going
too
on
as
tonight.
well, and it just said, yeah, some suspicious activity or something was going on. So I had
Yeah, there's some shady stuff going on tonight. I'm just saying.
It's Kirk. It's all Kirk.
Or Jimmy Lake. Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Scott Carasik, where can we find you on social media? I know Falcon fans probably got a million questions. For those that do have questions here on the channel, matter of fact, Scott, maybe you have an opportunity on your schedule to come back here before the draft because people have questions and Scott has answers. T-Will has answers. Kerry has answers. I have answers myself.
I do have.
We can talk.
I do have some availability, so probably there's a week in April.
Okay.
So I try not to do the podcast when my wife's in town because with her new job, she's going to be traveling a lot. So I like to spend time with my wife, or I love her. So I'm not gonna, don't feel like I need to explain it too much. I love my wife, like it's that simple.
Nothing wrong with that, brother.
But when she's out of town, I'll podcast and I'll do the stuff I was doing before I met her all the time, which is podcasting, and I'll watch a ton of football and watch random stuff on everything basically. But you can find me on Twitter at Carasik. I'm right there. You can talk to me whenever. If you're in my mentions and you troll me and you're not following me, I'm probably going to block you.
Yep.
Depending on the number of followers. But outside of that, like.
and how the conversation goes?
It depends on how the conversation goes, really. If you're respectful and we're just talking football, I'll football with you all day. I don't care if we have different opinions. Like, that's whatever. It's. If you're just trolling me, I'm just going to be like, dude, I don't have the time to deal with this. So just don't troll me and we're good.
You guys are hearing it from Scott Carasik. Once again, this is not Scott's first time on the channel. It's not going to be his last time on the channel too as well. Scott will be back definitely before the draft. You guys just heard it. And Scott is a part of our live draft show that we're having on draft night. We're not going to do like we did in the past with the Friday and the Saturday show and all that. We're just doing the Thursday show. Then we'll do the breakfast with one time for the fan show the following morning. Then we'll do the Sunday show too as well. If I don't play golf that weekend, I think we're trying to plan a golf trip too as well. So I might be able to probably podcast from a different location because, we're taking advantage of this beautiful weather that Atlanta has to offer. And you never know. I might end up on the damn PGA Tour one day.
You never know.
My golf game is going crazy right now. So big shout out to everybody in the chat. Miss Carrie, Scott Carasik, and of course we have this guy here, T-Will, former ATL Sports, one time for the fan, the hardest working man on YouTube right now. I must say, T-Will, you got a lot going for you, brother. Tell everybody here in the chat where we can find you.
I'm trying, man.
In the chat about your podcast and just who TMX is.
I'm trying. Hey, Scott, I just want you to know I got one of these too. See it?
Yeah,
I saw you. I got one too, right? Rawr.
Bear Claw.
Have you guys seen that guy from Cincinnati? He's like a comedian and he's like, rawr. And he's like, what's going on, little stank? You guys ever seen him? He's a Bengals fan, but he's a comedian, but he's hilarious.
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a...
Huh?
Like a postman or a mailman or something like that with the gold teeth or something?
Yeah.
He used to be a mailman, and then all of a sudden, his views went viral. He quit, and then he's making a hella bread doing Cincinnati Bengals fan videos, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he's funny, but that's where I got the rawr from, because you got to see him do it. It's funny. It's funny when he does it. It's not funny when I do it.
It's funny when you do it, too.
I missed it. Can you do that one more time?
No, I'm not. You know what? Let me tell you something about Carrie. Carrie's going to have me to do it. Then she's going to talk shit about me when we get into the set. She's going to clown me for it. That's what she's going to do.
I'm sorry. I didn't screen record in time. Can you do it one more time, please?
Yeah. Come on, Terry.
No, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to get me.
How
You're
you
not
get
gonna
rar?
get me.
Is it a rar or a rar? How is it now? How do you
It's
and how
a
do you spell
rar.
it too? By the way, It's a
Rar.
Jesus Christ.
RAWR.
Oh Lord. Falcon
I
fans
can't do it.
intellectuals.
I can't do it. It's funny when he does it. I can't do it. Anyway, no, seriously, guys. First and foremost, Jack, thank you for having me. Carrie, thank you for sharing the stage with me. Scott, as always, brother, the wisdom, the knowledge, everything, you got it, man. I appreciate you. I love it. And I'm just glad we're on the show together, brother. So I got to thank you as well. To the chat, thank you. You guys can see me here on One Time for the Fan, obviously. You can see me on For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. I got a show with this guy right here, Mr. Scott Carasik, called What the Falcon. All right, What the Falcon, man. And it's Wednesdays at 4 p.m. And yeah, you can check me out. I got a show Tuesday morning and Friday with Debo, and I got a show Wednesday morning with John, and then I got one Friday night with Jordan. So yeah, you can check me out anytime. Again, guys, thank you. Got to thank God woke me up this morning. And last but not least, thank you to Mr. Jack Spade and Mr. Eric Parker for giving me my start in this business. And there you go. And Carrie, I still feel like I was right about this whole thing with the Falcons, but that's neither here nor there, Carrie. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Just say
I have no idea what you mean, but okay. I'll go with it. You were
That
right.
is tough.
Only because you like your steak medium, but
Oh my gosh. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Look, for my ATL Sports, you guys saw I put up Scott Carasik social media too as well. That will be online for you guys inside the description. YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, wherever we post it. Miss Carrie, I put her information on there too as well. And of course, don't forget about our dog, man. My boy Bodie, man. Bodie's best right now. Doing some good things in the Falcon community too as well. Bodie, of course, will be here with us on One Time for the Fan before the draft. And of course, he'll be with us on draft night too as well. So big shout out to Bodie. Everything you got going on with your brother, man, keep doing it. And we definitely can't wait to have you back here on the channel. Big shout out to Eric Parker. You did mention Eric Parker. The grass looks great, Eric. You did a great job before the rain hit. Just want to let you know I left the check under the mat.
Wow.
Come by and pick it up in the morning.
Oh wow, Scott! If you don't know my brother, Scott, Eric is going to destroy him. Okay, Eric is going to destroy him. Next show. Okay.
Big shout out to everybody that's paid that's just been supporting One Time for the Fan. The shares, the likes, the subscribers, like the views, everything. Like you guys, just the greatest. Once again, we only turn this camera on and this microphone on to talk Falcons. We love doing it. You guys have responded in a positive way, so we're going to continue doing it. And we have a lot going on this year. One Time for the Fan, a lot of things on the podcast with special guests, and of course ourselves having a good time talking Falcons, and then of course us in the field this year. Training camp's going to be coming up, so we can't wait to bring you guys a lot of coverage from training camp when we're going to be out there. Of course, we're going to have any open practice that they have either at Flowery Branch or at the Mercedes-Benz will be there. The home games, the away games. So many people that's already agreed to join the podcast soon, and you already seen the special guests that we've had already this year. So, my hat goes off to the chat, because you guys are great. One Time for the Fan is from the fan, is for the fan. Terry, matter of fact, this is kind of like the dinner show. We missed Wednesday night show. We have breakfast with One Time for the Fan tomorrow morning. So we're right back in less than 24 hours talking Falcons football again. And that's the great part about it, because I'm off tomorrow. So that means we can go past a couple hours if we want to talk for maybe, an hour and some change or 2 hours. We can do that tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Golf game doesn't start until 4 o'clock. So Falcon fans, join us in the morning, 9 a.m., breakfast with One Time for the Fan. Grab your Waffle House, your IHOP, Huddle House, wherever you go. And then let's get in here and let's talk about the Falcons. Hopefully, they don't make no moves. We talked about this last time. Falcons work late at Flowery Branch. That light is still on right now in Flowery Branch, which means we can end this podcast and then we hear the Falcons have signed XYZ or the Falcons have done this. So just be prepared for what can happen between now and the morning. We'll come back. Carrie, I think in the morning we're going to talk about Kirk Cousins. I think that's important to talk about, right? So we'll talk about Kirk Cousins in the morning. We'll talk about,
I thought I could make it, but now I don't know if I can.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Gosh,
Oh
Carrie.
wow! She's
Not
calling
the
out
producer
sick.
Can't make it. How can we do the show?
I know,
Falcon
right?
fans,
It's crazy.
hit the like.
I mean,
share,
you got
subscribe
T.
button.
Will who loves talking about Kirk Cousins, so I think
Oh,
it'll be
Carrie,
okay.
you love
All right,
talking
cool.
about it.
We'll have a
Whatever.
Jameis Winston segment. That's what we do. We'll have a Jameis.
I'll
Winston.
be there for that. I will be there for that.
Jamal Hill
Okay.
said Bodie stole all your new paintbrushes. Damn. Sheesh. Bodie, that's what's going on out here. Falcons fans, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Thank you all for joining tonight. Once again, one time for the fan, from the fan, for the fan. Y'all have a good one, y'all. Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Bye.
Here.
Good
We
night.
up out of here. And we are